Bolt Orange has given me a real challenge today, and I don't know if I've succeeded in answering that challenge. And I think the difficulty really lies in that we are both approaching play in a very similar way, and the differences are almost like splitting hairs, and language is letting us down a little bit, but I hope this clip added something to the conversation. This is a video response to a video response, I think, if I've got that right. I responded to Sunny, and Bolt Orange is responding to Sunny and to me. So, well, that's interesting. This is a first for me. The topic at hand was handling mystery in a role-playing game, and I had come out in favor of choosing between the ability of the players to solve a pre-existing fact, or to uncover pre-existing facts, or for the play group to create facts which would then retroactively be made the solution to the mystery. That was the choice as I saw it posed in the options being asked about by Sunny. I don't think that my position was stated in the way that I intended by Bolt Orange, and I am in complete agreement, Chris. If we were anywhere near each other, we'd never get any work done. Right, so the way that Chris stated my position, the way Bolt Orange stated my position, was that there would be an established story and the players could opt to follow it or not. And this is definitely one option. This is one axis on the grid, that there is a pre-existing story, the players can choose to follow it or choose to follow something else, and all the facts will be predetermined and true. Whereas the other extreme is that there is a mystery going on. If the players choose to solve it, whatever they come up with, or whatever the group as a whole creates in play, becomes the solution to the mystery. And this I agree with. But it's a third point that I actually do in play, which is that there are objective truths to things, and the players are free to follow them whether they do or whether they will or won't, but nothing else is pre-planned. Meaning, in the case of a murder mystery, as I said before, the players discover that there has been a murder. I do know who committed the murder, but that's all I know. And if the players choose to investigate it, then I begin, as they begin, to assess the situation that brought about this murder. Now, I'm going to reach conclusions faster than they are because I know who did it, and I'll be able to start assessing whether or not their investigation, based on what they're actually trying to do, I'll be able to assess what clues come to light in what form, and it's up to them to put it together. And I do not care in any way if they solve it or don't solve it. This will either be a story about them choosing to investigate something and succeeding, choosing to investigate something and failing, or choosing to investigate something and deciding to stop, or not choosing to investigate something. I've got no attachment to what they do. There is no planned story, and I'm not pushing them in any particular direction. I'm simply supplying environment when it needs to be supplied, or supplying responses back from that environment, or supplying proactive events from that environment that pre-exists. So this is the distinction which I find is often missed, probably in the way that I phrase things. Because I really have never... No, it's not that I've never played any other way. This is how I started playing, and I learned other styles, and I never liked railroads. So, for me, from my point of view, this is the baseline of how role-playing works. Most of everything that goes on is a surprise to me as the game master, and most of what goes on for the players is a surprise to them as players. We're all surprised around the table, but there are certain aspects of things which I do know about. If some non-player character in the group has an agenda, well, I know what that agenda is because I created that character. Maybe I created them on the spot. Maybe I created them months in advance and hoped that they would be discovered. It depends. So there is this distinction that I'd like to make. So in the context of the mystery that Sunny was talking about, when she talked about adjudicating what would happen on the fly and not having a set ending because she was worried about it being boring, so she wanted to go with the most exciting option, or having a set ending and hoping, or a set answer to her mystery and hoping that it was interesting enough. The way that I chose to express myself was that this is really the decision. It's the choice between presenting your mystery to your players and allowing them to choose to be engaged or not engaged by it, or allowing the environment to be one of options. So either there's one answer, Mr. Smith killed Mr. Johnson, or somebody as yet to be determined, the most interesting person will be determined to have killed Mr. Johnson. And so I wanted to make that distinction. So what is that distinction? To me, what we're talking about when I make this distinction is whether or not the players, not the characters, whether or not the players have the opportunity to achieve an authentic success, not a narrative success. So in the railroad option and in my option, there is a solution to the mystery, right? Mr. Smith killed Mr. Johnson. In the railroad, everything is planned out. All the clues are spaced. They might be, the game master might be advised how to deliver these in a certain time frame, or after a certain amount of sessions have passed, or whatever. You move through from scene to scene, and you have to push and guide and coax and lead the players through that, and that's the skill of that. Getting them from one pre-written encounter to the next pre-written encounter to the next pre-written scene, and so on to the conclusion. That's a skill. And the fact that it's such a common saying that no plan survives contact with the players shows you how much of a skill that is. It's not a skill I particularly appreciate on either side of the screen, but it is hard. In my option, yes, I know that Mr. Smith killed Mr. Johnson, but I'm designing as we go. I'm creating on the fly. That's part of my enjoyment. But I'm not following a script. I'm getting the opportunity to design and create on the fly all of the material that logically stems from who these characters are and were in the case of the dead Mr. Johnson. So this is a very live and surprising environment. And what I'm providing is the opportunity for the players to actually use their characters to reach a conclusion successfully as players. This is them using their intellect, or whatever skills become engaged in the play environment, to really accomplish something. The other extreme, where we decide we're going to play a mystery, so we have a murder, Mr. Johnson dies, but the game master doesn't have an attachment to who that is. There is no single objective truth of who killed Mr. Johnson. We're going to play, and as the players create theories and respond to clues that are popping up, we discover together who the murderer was. And this is fun too, and this is equally difficult. I totally get why this is a challenge and a thrill for all the players. But for me, it lacks that vital ingredient of an actual real-world success or accomplishment that the player gets in addition to the character. I'm not as satisfied when I play in a narrative environment where it's only the character which is succeeding. I don't get as much satisfaction from creating plot and world elements as a character as I do as a game master. It has a difference to me, and that's the distinction that I wanted to make. And thank you for the opportunity to try and make it.